Alrighty. Well, we are going to now move into our third segment of the show, the Redzone Rodeo Rowdy rankings. And so today we kind of have a little bit of a dual ranking for you. We're going to be discussing the top 5 available free agents and then ranking the UFL uniforms as there's been some official releases of images of some of these uniforms, especially since the UFL has agreed to with a deal with Under Armour to produce the uniforms for the 2024 season. The Under Armour actually did that with the XFL last season. But the USFL was not through Under Armour, so they had to kind of realter a little bit. Not too much, but there is a couple changes. So with that being the case, we're going to be breaking those down in terms of our rankings as well. So, but first off, Rob, who do you think are the top 5 available free agents right now?
Yeah, and it's really exciting to get to talk about this right now because obviously the tampering period starts tomorrow. So in 24 hours, a lot of these guys might not even be free agents anymore. But as of right now, I think the fifth best available free agent at this moment is Danielle Hunter, the edge from the Minnesota Vikings. He's been absolutely just a dominant force off the edge his entire career. He had a great season last year, was among the top in the league in sacks. The only reason I have him at number 5 instead of higher is just because of his age. You know, he's 29, approaching 30, I think. So he would be a good, 1 or 2 year solution for a team, trying to find like a bookend for one of their defensive ends, but he's not going to be the guy for your team for like a long time. He's not a building block. He's a piece that will help you win right now. But he still has an extraordinary value for the next year or two at least because he's just one of the most dominant pass rushers in the entire NFL. And any team that gets him will, at least for this season and probably next season, really bolster their pass rush capability. Number 4, the same reason age is kind of making this guy lower on the list than he otherwise would be, is Cowboys left tackle Tyron Smith. He has been an absolute Hall of Fame level player his entire career. He's just a giant man with freakish athleticism who knows how to block. He's been an all-pro more times than I can count. He's just been the best left tackle in all of football, since he stepped on the field back in 2011, I think. He is 34. He does have an injury history, although the Cowboys found a way to kind of keep him healthy last year where they wouldn't make him practice at all during the week and then he would just play the games. And that seemed to reduce his injuries because I don't think he got hurt once after they started using that method. So assuming whatever team signs him will probably do the same thing. If you're one of those teams that's looking for like a short 1 year answer at left tackle because you think you're a competitor like the Kansas City Chiefs, this is the guy you should go out and get because he will be the best tackle in the league for you on the blind side. So, yeah, you're looking for a 1 year or 2 year answer at left tackle and you're a contender, and that's something that you really need. This is absolutely the guy you should go out and get. Number 3, defensive tackle Christian Wilkins from the Miami Dolphins. I love Christian Wilkins. He is arguably one of, if not the best run defenders in the entire league. And he's also an amazing pass rusher, which is really saying something coming from the defensive tackle spot. The problem is that he's 28 right now. So if you're looking for, again, like a building block, like someone you want to build around, he might not be the best guy. But if you're a contender right now and you need some help on the defensive line, stopping the run and rushing the passer, this guy is brilliant at it. He can do it better than just about anyone. He's going to get a huge contract in free agency, undoubtedly. Definitely, in my opinion, one of the top 3 free agents available right now. At number 2, I have the Jets edge rusher, Bryce Huff. For the past few years, he's kind of been like a rotational player, but like we mentioned earlier in the show, he is absolutely insane at rushing the passer. His pass rush win rate is off the charts, and it has been for years. So it's not like this is a one-off thing. He has consistently been one of the best pass rushers in all of football. And He's also only 25, 26, I think. So he could be one of those building block pieces for a team looking to, bring youth and establish like a core for a long time. He is really, really, really bad against the run. It's just like awful, which is why he was a rotational player with the New York Jets last year. So you have to keep that in mind. But as the NFL shifts away from running the ball towards passing the ball more, I think having someone who's as good at rushing the passer as he is just way too valuable for most teams to pass up. And I think that makes him the second most valuable free agent, just not just because of his pass rush ability, but also because of his youth. That's someone you could have as a building block. And I know the Eagles are very interested in signing him, so got my fingers crossed that he doesn't end up going to Philadelphia. Then at the number one spot, I have quarterback from the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins. Uh, in terms of pure football talent, maybe some of these other guys would be ahead of him, but he plays the most important position in the game. He is a franchise quarterback who can win you a lot of games, who can get you to the playoffs. And that's the most important thing for any team to have. And because he is that, and he's the only one available in free agency this year, I think that automatically makes him the most valuable free agent available. So he is number one on the list.
Gotcha. No, these are all great choices. Honestly, all of these players are difference makers immediately whichever roster they're going to be on. I'm surprised actually you don't have any of the top running backs in free agency. And there's also some other wide receivers, Curtis Samuel, Tyler Boyd. I think those guys could be top free agents as well for teams to look at. I get it's probably tough to narrow it all down. But yeah, why didn't you put any of the why isn't Derrick Henry in this list? That's my first question. Why? He should be number one. So
Okay, when I created this list, I wanted to look at the value a player would bring to the team.
yeah,
So first of all, running backs, just based off of their position, bring the least value of any other position in the entire NFL. Two,
that's fair.
most of those running backs are very old, which decreases their total value because they're only going to be there for like a year or two at most. So the value they add to the team isn't very high. For both of those reasons, I didn't include any of those running backs at the top five because I just feel like these premium positions like tackle and edge rusher and quarterback, they're
Yeah.
so much more valuable than any of those positions. It's not to say those running backs aren't good. It's just they're running backs, so they don't have as much value, and therefore they're not going to be in the top five. For the wide receivers, which is a valuable position, none of those guys are like top in the league at their position. They're not like top 10 wide receivers. T. Higgins is great. He's well, not T. Higgins. Tyler Boyd is great.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel is great. They're all really good, like number two, number three wide receiver options, who are also in the later stages of their career. But they're not gonna, completely change the dynamic of your team. If you get a guy like Daniel Hunter or Bryce Huff, you are going to completely change the ability of your pass rush and therefore completely change the efficacy of your defense. So they're good and they're at an important position. They're just not great. Where these five players, I feel like, are all really great outside of Kirk, who I think is also just a really good player, but he's at the most important position in the entire game, which is why he's at number one. So that's why I don't have any of those running backs or wide receivers on the board right now.
So you're saying basically OBJ is your one wide receiver one to go out and get in
Yep,
terms of free
OB.
agency. Yep,
Yes,
OBJ. That's your favorite.
I
Yeah.
think every team should just throw blank checks at OBJ because he deserves it.
Wow. I knew there was something that I didn't want to throw out his name because I thought you were gonna turn it back around on him, but yeah,
I thought it was just kind of implied that he's the most valuable player in the league. So like I didn't even need to list him. It's
that's
just
fair.
implied he is the most
That's fair.
valuable player.
And where's Baker Mayfield? Where is he on the list?
I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. I'm sorry,
Okay,
Carson. I know you really bought into the Baker Mayfield hype, and
I
I think he
did.
was last year, but I don't think he's going to be able to win a playoff game as a quarterback. I don't think he can do it. Whereas Kirk Cousins, I think he can, which is why
Yeah,
he's on the list, and Baker Mayfield is not. I'd probably have Baker in my top 10 just because I think if he continues to grow and get better, then maybe he could win a playoff game down the road. But just right now, I don't think he's that guy. So
that's fair. And yeah, of course, all jokes aside, I think that these top five rankings are pretty good, pretty good. As these guys, as Rob mentioned, as we've mentioned, These guys are game changers at their positions. And not only are they game changers, but whatever team they will end up on is going to be definitely thankful to have them there. As they just they're great players. And I agree. I agree. OBJ and Baker Mayfield may not fit the top 5 category. So. Or Derrick
Yeah,
Henry, even though he's number 1 in my mind. So you can't take that away from me.
will always be number 1 in your heart, Carson.
Yes. Thank you for joining us on the Redzone Rodeo podcast.
If you like football and you like having fun, come on down and subscribe and check out our channel for more videos like this one.
No ifs, ands, or bucks. This is the best place for your football news.